Coming up on the Uplift, boarding to make life better. Learn all about one Minnesotan skateboarding trip across Cuba and why he's doing it for others. Then, a true baseball baby, how a Milwaukee Brewers raffle ticket helped one couple start the family that they always wanted. And technology, helping people dealing with addiction recover from addiction. The story behind the new Minnesota program that is changing lives. Welcome to the Uplift. In this digital series, we're going to be sharing some of our favorite stories we are sure will put a smile on your face. It's our goal to lift your spirits for at least the next 30 minutes and hopefully for a whole lot longer. I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield. Thank you so much for being with us. A Minnesota native is hopping back on his skateboard for a new mission to help a good cause in a new country. Last summer, we followed his journey skateboarding across New Zealand. He made the trip to raise money to fight human trafficking in his birth country of Vietnam. Now, John Addix O'Toole is in Cuba to raise money to help youth through the nonprofit Cuba Skate. Before he took off, he stopped by WCCO to tell us about his nearly 1,000-mile journey. He says he chose this nonprofit to help because it promotes good citizens through loving something he loves, skateboarding.
One of the things that really drew me to them specifically is how they're trying to change the negative perceptions placed on skaters as destructive and rebellious. And that's something I'm trying to do as well. And kind of show the positive side of skateboarders in the community. He
hopes to raise at least $30,000 for Cuba Skate. If you want to donate to his cause, we've got a link on our website, wcco.com. This next story out of Wisconsin is proof that baseball really can change people's lives. For one couple, a Milwaukee Brewers raffle ticket allowed them to start a family. Aaron and Cassie Murphy spent more than a year going through fertility treatment, and they started to run out of resources. They say they spent about $20,000 trying to conceive, and they weren't able to get pregnant. Then, in April of 2022, they went to a Brewers game and entered a 50-50 raffle. Well, they ended up winning, walking away with $18,000, and they used the money to fund one more round of IVF, and they were pregnant in just months. In February, they welcomed their son, Foster.
It was almost to the dollar, like what we needed to keep going.
I don't think we thought baseball was going to be such a part of our fertility pregnancy journey, but it's been a really welcomed community.
I think we will have an eternal connection to the Brewers, that's for sure.
The grateful parents returned to the ballpark for opening day, and their baby boy, who will likely grow up, we think, to be a Brewers fan, was right there with them. A St. Paul native who is 3 years into recovery is now helping thousands of others who are struggling with addiction. After experiencing the challenges of navigating through treatment, he created a digital platform for recovery services. It connects clients, service providers, and recovery organizations into one place. As our Derek James explains, it's proving to be a major help in the recovery process.
I started experimenting with drinking when I was 9 years old.
Battling addiction through her adult life, April Schwina married a struggling addict.
I married somebody who was addicted to meth. He was an IV user. He was in treatment. We had known each other for years and years and years, and everything was going to be perfect.
After losing custody of her kids due to one of his arrests, Schwina injected meth for the first time.
Within 6 months, I was homeless, living in a minivan, kind of hopping around. I'd stayed at trap houses.
Eventually, drug court set her on a path to recovery, a recovery she credits in part to Kairos, a recovery management platform that allows users to find help with programs, transportation, meetings, and other resources.
Minnesota does a really good job at treatment. They do not such a good job at recovery. What happens the year after?
Daniel Larson is 3 years into alcohol recovery. He used his background in tech and labor solutions to start Kairos. A key component of the company is providing peer recovery specialists to those in recovery and an opportunity to get back on their feet through a free job training program to then become a PRS themselves.
We give them access to livable wage starting at $18.50 an hour and can make all the way up to $26.50 an hour. And they work as little or as much as they want with the people they identify with that makes it feel like they can help.
It's why Rolando Ruiz decided to become one of the first certified peer recovery specialists for Kairos.
Offering hope and empowering people that have been through the things that I have.
Ruiz has been through a lot.
When I was born, my mom was actually incarcerated in the Shakopee Women's Prison. So from like day one, I was kind of like on my own in a sense.
Growing up in the Twin Cities, his family was involved in drugs, violence, and crime. He used drugs to cope and at times to fit in somewhere.
I've spent 7.5 years incarcerated between prisons, jails, different treatment centers. I overdosed 5 or 6 times.
Ruiz credits a long-term program at Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge for getting him on the road to recovery in 2018. While working on himself, he's able to work on others with similar experiences.
You would see people come in and they didn't have a lot of job experience. They had felonies, they're new in recovery, and they think like, oh, well, life, this is it for me. We can try to basically turn that pain that you went through into leadership and lessons.
Like Ruiz, Shwina now works as a PRS with Kairos. She offers this advice as someone who has been on both sides of substance use addiction.
If you love somebody who is struggling with addiction, provide a safe space, but have healthy boundaries and put trust in them as much as you can.
In Minneapolis, Derek James, WCCO News.
Spring planting season is just about here, and today more women than ever before will be working in the farm fields of Minnesota and western Wisconsin. John Lauritsen talked with farmers about why this trend will likely continue to grow.
We have 66 as a full barn.
At Gatewood Farm near Wilmer. Christy Gatewood is working full-time, while she also works full-time at another job in town. She's early to rise each day, making sure the dairy cows are milked and the other animals are taken care of.
We have the horse and the donkey, peacocks, chickens for eggs.
Christy grew up raising hogs and growing corn and soybeans. A few years ago, she married into her husband's dairy operation, and as she's become one of the main operators here, she's joined a elite company. According to an agriculture census, there are now nearly 20,000 farms in the state where a woman is the primary operator. That equates to about 1/3 of all farms in the state, numbers that continue to grow.
I am proud to say I'm the 4th generation.
A few miles away from Gatewood Farm is Fixin' Farms. That's where you'll find Sarah Lushik. She left corporate America a decade ago to take over her family's century-old farmstead.
Early on, we raised hemp, potatoes, lots of different. It was just a completely different farm way back in the history, but today, strictly corn and soybeans.
And as she gets ready for spring planting, she credits technology for giving her and other women opportunities like this. As a precision farmer, she uses software to map out when and where she wants to plant.
When that seed hits the ground, if we don't do it right, if we don't place it right, we can't fix it. With technology, it has allowed others to enter into agriculture as well.
No matter how this year's crop turns out, both Sarah and Christy are sure of one thing. They want to inspire the next generation of women in agriculture.
There's so many avenues now to agriculture. It used to be just on the farm. Well, now there's so much more.
The farm is always busy. It is nice to be able to be your own boss.
In Candy, Ojai County, John Lauritsen, WCCO 4 News.
Still to come, a haven for cats and cat lovers. How one woman created the perfect home for the animals who needed her most.